Step number one of the ARP saga will be to get all these just had a little bath in some hot soapy water, get any manufacturing materials off of the bolts before we proceed. Good morning from Patty's Garage. Well, as might be evidenced by what we've got going on here in front of me, today I'm going to begin installing the ARP bolts, studs for the 948 head. And I have already washed all of the components in some hot soapy water. And that's just to clean off any manufacturing materials that might have already been on the bolts. So those are all prepped and ready to go. I've got made sure that I've got all the long bolts, short bolts, and even shorter for both the head and rockers. And this is I'm using the this 206-4201. This is for the A series engine. I've had this for quite some time, actually. It was going to be for a different project, but this one is going to be just perfect for using that. I'll go into all of this a little bit later when we get to actually point of installing that. But what I'm going to do, I've just kind of taped off the pistons, and I'm going to once again just kind of hit this with just a scrunchie pad and some brake cleaner to clean off this surface while I can. And then I'm also going to be cleaning all of and thread chasing all of the holes in the block prior to installing the ARP bolts. The first thing that I'm going to do is just we're going to clean out all of these. I'll just kind of shoot them all. We're concerned with these bolt holes. I'll get this one out. I want to lose that washer. And same thing back here. We'll get you out of the way. And we're just going to run down all of these little threaded areas just to get any debris out of there to begin with while it's dry, and then we'll come back with a thread chaser. So I've got my 5/16 thread chaser, and I'm just going to insert that into this first hole here, and we're just going to run it all the way down, making sure that everything is nice and smooth. Now this block is freshly back from the machine shop, so this was all Magnaflux, acid dipped, cleaned, and so forth at the machine shop. So I'm not expecting any issues, but just to be double sure. So I'm going to spray a little brake cleaner down in that area. And we're going to run this back down through. See, we'll wipe anything away down in there. And we'll just kind of back that back off. And clean up our thread chaser, wipe away any excess there. And I'm going to go ahead and continue doing that on each of these subsequent holes as we go down the block. There are two different size bolts. There's long and short, and that's interesting. That one was a little tougher. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention to how deep it was going. So I'm going to continue on this down the block here, and running this thread chaser here, and then we'll come back once that's all clean. I wanted to do this first, and then I'll clean off the surface. And with those initial bolts or holes, threaded holes chased out, I'm just going to shoot it with a little compressed air. Next, I'm just going to use a little bit of carbon choke cleaner, parts cleaner, and I'm just going to lightly kind of spray around the surface and use a little scrunchie to just kind of clean up anything that's kind of dark. I'll just go around this entire open area here where the gas is going to be. I'm going to leave the cylinders blocked off. I'm just kind of afraid to get any schmutz down in the cylinders. So I'm going to go around and pretty much clean up the bulk of the area around where the gasket is going to seal. Clean, clean, clean. I don't know how many times I've cleaned this top of this block, but after chasing all of the threads, I went back with carb cleaner and just a clean shop towel, and I'm still getting, that was the first run. Here's kind of a second run. So I'll be doing this a couple of more times just to make sure that this thing is absolutely clean before we certainly before you put the head gasket on, but but the next step is to install the ARP head studs. In reading the ARP installation instructions for the 5/16 bolt studs, say number 3, they do mention using ARP thread sealer if the holes are going into a water jacket area. They do talk about putting them in hand tight, and that you can use some Loctite if this is going to be a permanent installation. But it isn't until step 6 that they start talking about lubricating the stud threads, nuts, and washers with the Ultra Torque. So my question became, do I need to lubricate both ends of the bolts with the ARP Ultra Torque? And so I went out to the ARP website and actually looked at a couple of quick little forums that came up when I did my search, but definitely ARP was my source. Was that you should lubricate both ends of the bolts, studs. As before, when I was using the ARP bolts on the flywheel, I am going to pre-lubricate all of these at one time, so it just makes it that much easier, and I don't forget to do that step as we start the install. So I'm not going to bore everybody. I'm just going to use their lubricant, my little dollar store brush. I'm going to lubricate the ends of the threads because we're just going to install those in the block, and I'll come back and do the upper parts when we get involved with doing the head and so forth. I've positioned all of the head studs in their respective holes. There's 4 on one side, 5 on the other, so you can't really get this wrong. The 4 longer studs go in those holes, 5. There's 5 holes, 5 shorter studs go on this side, so you can't hardly go wrong there. And then these all will just get hand tightened down, and we'll take a look at that when we get to that point. I have hand tightened all of the studs after lubricating them, and as they kind of get to the bottoming out point, you can see the lubricant starting to rise up through the threads to the top. And what we want to do now is just I'll wipe that away, and we'll make sure that we don't have any that have exposed threads above the block. They should all, I believe, all just be just below the surface. And if there are any that are like that, I'll just use an Allen screw to maybe just snug them up just a little bit to make sure that they're all uniform.